Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, my international friends, joining us as we gather around the virtual water cooler, talking about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news and all that sorts of good stuff. And I'm not alone here today, guys. I'm joined, of course, by the one and the only, the wonderful, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing, sir?
Good morning, John. You're 5 days away, 6 days away from seeing Endgame. How many days is it now?
It's something along those lines. It's getting pretty close to when I'm going to finally get a chance to see Endgame. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it.
You're looking pretty enthusiastic about it today.
I may have donned a little bit of something here, but also joining us in donning a little bit of something, including some new headphones there, is Ashley Whalen. Ashley, how you doing?
That's right. I'm doing great. Good morning, guys. I did my Monday night trivia. I'm trying to figure out the question that was asked that I could have really helped out with. It was, I think it was, what DC characters are in a video game that has to do with maybe insurgents?
Injustice.
Injustice.
Yes.
Injustice Gods Among Us.
I needed you last night. Yes. Immediately you knew. I didn't even post it right.
Well, listen, guys, we've got a whole bunch of good stuff to talk about here today. I'm pretty excited because my new Avengers jacket showed up. Actually, me and you might have seen this if you follow me on social media. Me and my wife, and we got our matching Avenger jackets. We may or may not be wearing these to the premiere. We don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I totally dig these jackets, man. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of digging these things. The last couple things I've gotten, I've really liked. I got this great Shazam thing that I really, really love, and I'm really digging this Avengers jacket too. But anyway, you're going to probably see everybody. This is going to become the belly button jacket because everyone's going to have one. I think everybody's going to have one of these pretty soon here. But listen, we got a whole bunch of things to talk about here today, including this. Let's just address here the elephant in the room for a second, because I know everyone's going to want to mention it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it here, except to say this. Okay, look, everybody knows some monumental jackass decided that they thought they were cool and leaked a number of minutes, a purposely edited together number of minutes of Endgame last night, and put it out online to spoil it for everybody. Then some monumentally jackhole websites decided they wanted to take advantage and get some clicks and write a full breakdown of all the stuff that was in it, because they knew the video would eventually get taken down. And now everywhere you go online for the next week or two, everybody, I mean, I've had to ban people in my own chat board today because, of course, as it always happens, somebody gets their hands on the spoilers. They eventually start going around everywhere and try to bomb spoilers everywhere. And it's infuriating. It's frustrating as a fan that, you know, you're trying to make it so fans, like, I don't know why people hate their own fellow film fans so much that they would do this type of crap. But anyway, you know, Rob, you and I were talking about this a little bit beforehand. It's just, you know, as people, you know, we all love our own fan community. We all love the fan community. And the fact that people would disrespect the fan community like this, the fact that there are people who would piss all over the fans like this, just to be an idiot, it's frustrating. I mean, these are walking advertisements for condoms and birth control, these people. It's just infuriating. So I don't know, Rob, you had some thoughts about this.
Well, you know, look, I think it's, even though somebody lambasted me on Twitter yesterday for saying, a grown man baby's crying about spoilers to a movie. But you know what? I mean, there's so few things in this life that truly bring joy to the world. And you can talk about this being a corporate product all you want. But in my mind, this kind of thing makes me feel like I did when I was 10 years old. Truly, I admit that. But, you know, I went into Infinity War not knowing anything that was going on in the movie, truly was surprised by it. And how often do we get something that rolls down the pike like this that everybody is universally excited about? The idea of it puts a smile on everyone's face. And it's our own community that is perpetrating and perpetuating and jumping on this like suddenly like we're all immature idiots. I think, you know, if we're going to be citizens of the world, indeed, if we're going to be people that look out for our fellow fan community, look out for our fellow film-going community, it's up to us to show civility. And when I see this kind of thing, and there's all these people like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just a movie. But you know what? Who are you to hamper the enjoyment of such a thing for others? Where do you think you have the responsibility or the right to do something like that? And, if your website relies on this kind of clickbait, you're not doing your job. Figure something else out. It's incredibly disappointing to me that people think that this is something worth doing, and it makes me want to like get up from my computer and walk away for a while. Just be like, why bother? No one deserves me, or no one deserves you, and no one deserves the community that we're trying to foster here. We're trying to create a place where we're celebrating joy and artwork and the tremendous work that literally tens of thousands of people have done all over the world. So why would you want to diminish that?
Yeah. And just kind of to prove the point again, so I found one of these websites that not only had posted the video, but decided to write a full recap of everything that was in the video because they knew the video was eventually going to get pulled. And somebody in the comment section rightfully said, "Why did you do this? Why did you post these spoilers? Why did you do all this?" And of course, some half-wit, brain-dead idiot writes, "Well, you didn't have to come here and read it." To which this person, who must watch the John Campea Show, to which the person replied, "I didn't read it, but now there's a whole bunch of trolls that know everything that's going to happen in the movie, and they're going to go around and start dropping it all over the place on social media and in chat boards, and they're going to purposefully go around and ruin it for people. And we already see that happening now. It's already happening. It's, I had to ban a bunch of people in my own site today. I know it's happening. I've talked to a few other people that's already happening on their chat forums and things like that as well. It's one of the reasons why I've talked about here. I don't even think people should put up spoiler reviews until at least a day or two after a movie comes out, because you're arming trolls. So it's not about, so get rid of this excuse, well, if people don't want to see what the spoiler is, they don't have to watch a video. That's not what it's about. It's about people not wanting to get spoiled and not watching the video, but these jackalopes come in there and see it and get the spoilers and then go to other chat forums and on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram and wherever they can go and spoil it for as many people as possible because they have no lives. And it's just infuriating to me that there are people that just hate fans so much. They hate people so much. They hate the fans so much that they have to do this, and it's really, really unfortunate. And you just hate seeing this, something like this happen especially when it's for any movie, but especially if it's a big major movie that a lot of people are looking forward to. Whether that's an Avengers Endgame, or whether that's a Wonder Woman 84, or whether that's a Star Wars, whatever. It's frustrating to see that, and and then it's additionally frustrating, not just that there's some jerk face that goes around and puts something like this out, but then all the ass clowns who take that and start spreading it around. And it's just frustrating. And anyway, I'm not saying anything that everybody doesn't already know. So I guess, but I just thought we at least had to address the elephant in the room. So there you go. Be warned, guys. Be very, very careful. Today, tomorrow, up until you see Endgame, be very careful about what you're reading and what you're watching, because there are just people out there that do not care. There's some people out there who are such losers that the only sense of control and joy they can get in their pathetic, miserable lives is to try to ruin the joy and happiness of other people. And they're going to try to spoil the movie. So just be cautious, guys. Now, look, this ain't a surprise. We knew this was probably coming. We knew we would probably have to try to be prepared for this. But it's definitely here. So just be prepared, guys. Just be prepared. All right. With that down, let's go to something off the top here. Also sticking on the theme of Avengers Endgame. This morning, a legit brand new trailer for Avengers Endgame dropped called Endgame to the End. And it is a trailer that hits all the feels. Now here, for those of you who have not seen it yet, it's actually very little, very, very little that we have not already seen. And there might be a few frames of things in this trailer that we haven't seen before. As a matter of fact, Rob, half of this trailer is just clips from previous MCU movies.
Right.
Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, Black Widow, Ant-Man, and the Guardians of the Galaxy is this big, but it's constructed in such a way that is really something I think they should have been doing sooner, really captivating this thing and taking advantage of the notion that this is the culmination of the 22 films. This is what we've been building up to. This is it. And that's the feeling you get from this To the End trailer, which, by the way, what a great way to end this trailer with Captain America saying, whatever it takes. It's to the end. I love that they did it. And I actually kind of think they might have been wise to employ this strategy a little bit sooner too. But I thought it was, for a trailer that showed us almost nothing brand new, it was a little bit of an emotional experience watching it. Rob, you had a chance to see this trailer this morning. What did you think about it?
I agree with you. It really, again, it speaks to these characters, and it speaks to literally a decade of entertainment history. And it really is, when you look at the history of Hollywood, which, by the way, this represents modern Hollywood has only been around for a little more than 100 years, but as we know it, 100 years. And this is 1/10 of all of Hollywood cinematic history, all of the worldwide cinema, really, for cinema goers en masse. And it really celebrates 10 years, or now 11 years, of creativity and wonder and bringing to life what people used to think were just flights of fancy for kids on disposable newsprint that you would read in 5 minutes and throw away. I mean, that's how comic books began. And seeing the legacy of people like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and Steve Englehart, all the rest of the people that worked in Marvel Comics for so many decades, then to see this, the culmination of these dreams and these the writing and the drawing and the artistic talents of these men writ large on the big screen. It's really a celebration of human imagination and creativity across the board, culminating in these grand visions that we've been given. And it not just hits me in the feels because I love these characters and I love how they've been brought to life. But this aging man-child still has his inner child glowing within him, not unlike E.T.'s heart. And I watching this, I loved it. And it just, if they needed to poke my desire a little bit more, they certainly did. And kudos to them, because they've marketed this movie exactly how I wanted them to market it. And they did it again. And kudos to everybody over at Marvel Studios, because they sure know what they're doing.
I agree. I think they did a fantastic job with that. Okay, guys, with that down out of the way, let's now move on to our main topics today. How do we select our main topics here in the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys select them by sending me your topics and questions by going to the website www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. When you get there, you'll see a form. Fill that form out, hit submit, and maybe, just maybe, you'll see your topic or question as one of the main topics here on the John Campea Show. With that out of the way, Ashley, what's our first main topic today?
All right, you guys, the first one up is from Will Zimmerman. Been watching every day since 2013. My question is, if Disney Plus has the entire Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar catalog, what is the point in buying the movies? I always pre-order Disney movies ASAP, but if it will be on Disney Plus that same day, why would I ever pay for both? Will this impact Google Play and Vudu? Keep bringing the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for the question, Will. And we've been talking a little bit. One of the big topics of conversation around here lately has been, the fact that physical media seems to be dying out. Sales have been dropping like a rock in water. People getting out and physical media versus digital. But now we're getting into a topic here with Disney Plus coming out. It's raising the question about even digital versus digital. Because here's the thing. Disney Plus has announced that when Disney Plus comes out, the moment that a new Disney movie, be it a Pixar film, a Disney Pictures film, a Disney animation film, a Lucasfilm movie, a Marvel film, whatever, when these movies come out, as soon as they're available for home video, poof, they're going to be on Disney Plus. Now, there are people out there like me who ditched physical media a long time ago, Rob. Like I haven't bought DVDs and Blu-rays in a long time. I get a lot of my stuff on digital, but I buy a lot of my stuff on digital. I go to the Google Play Store, sometimes Amazon Prime. It's like, there's the new movie I want, purchase it. Now it's in my digital library to watch wherever I want to go. But he raises a really good question here. if I have Disney Plus, and let's face it, most of us are getting Disney Plus. If I've got Disney Plus and these movies are going to come out on the service the moment they're available for home video use, why would I, and let's face it, Disney's not going anywhere. Disney's not like Disney Plus isn't some new startup called moviesforyou.co. Like it's not some fly-by-night company that's going to disappear in 3 months. This is Disney. It's going to be around forever. Why would I, for, when Avengers Endgame comes out, or when Star Wars Episode 9 comes out, or whatever, why would I even buy a digital copy of this thing when it's going to be there on Disney Plus? So I'll tell you what, Rob, I'm a little bit stumped by it. I don't know that I've got a good answer for that. Why would somebody buy a copy of a Disney released film if they just know they're going to get it on Disney Plus later?
Well, John, I think the answer to that is they wouldn't.
That's the answer.
As what has recently been reported, the Motion Picture Association of America recently reported that the decline in global physical media sales from 2014 to 2018 was 50%. 25.2 billion in 2014 as opposed to just 13.1 million in 2018. Now, this is from the Motion Picture Association of America, so these numbers are very legit. And I think what we're seeing is physical media is going to go away. Physical media has only really existed now for 40 years, a little more than 40 years in terms of first starting out, even with 3/4-inch tape, then beta, then VHS, then Laserdisc, then DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. Who wants to do that anymore? The studios, even making digital copies and dealing with that and dealing with those stores like iTunes and all the other places, they don't want to do that. I mean, they want to, especially Disney. Disney is, of all the studios, they've put their stuff on moratorium. They sell it for a while, then pull it from release. Now they have a place that is completely under the control of themselves. Disney owns it. Disney controls it. They'll charge you for the privilege to watch it. It's always there. I think this is the future. As much as I am a collector and I really like to own my discs, the whole point of owning discs is it's still the best way to watch films. You have the highest bit rates. You have the best sound. But even Disney, with their physical releases, their Atmos releases, their sound releases, are not even being done for home video anymore. They're being done for streaming. So we're not even getting the quality we should be getting, even if you're buying Blu-ray or 4K. The sound mixes have been, they've been moving them over to the streaming versions. And this is the future. It is here. And we're all going to get used to it. In 10 years, even I'm like, I don't buy physical media anymore. There's no reason to. I think the only place that, even the Criterion Channel is going to start putting up with which they're doing a wonderful job. It's been live for 2 weeks. This is the future, man. And John, you were an early adopter of that future. I've been holding on, as some kid once said to me. He's like, don't you think putting discs into a machine is so 20th century? Well, yes, it is.
Ashley, what about for somebody like you? Like, what, as somebody who enjoys movies and stuff like that, will you be tempted, like when Toy Story 4 comes out on home video and you have Disney Plus, is there any temptation to buy either a physical or a digital copy of it, knowing it's going to be on Disney Plus?
No, zero temptation. I'll just watch it on Disney Plus. I know it's sad, but that's the way it is. Why would I go out and buy it when I can just get it online? I don't know. Times are changing, so you kind of have to keep up.
The only thing I can see here that offers any sort of a possibility why I may want to buy it is this. What if I decide that I don't want to pay for Disney Plus anymore? Right? That's the only thing I can imagine happening. Okay, what happens if in 3 years I decide, wow, I've been paying $10 a month, because we all know the price of Disney Plus is going to go up at some point, but I've been paying $10 a month for 3 years. I don't want to use Disney Plus anymore. Well, now I don't have any of those movies, where if I've bought them, like I have movies in my collection right now, like I have Deadpool and Deadpool 2 in my digital collection. I have access to that now forever, as long as Google is in business, which I believe will be for at least my lifetime. So I'm going to have access to that whenever I want. Whereas maybe, but then again, that's not much of an argument because I've been paying for Netflix for 10 years and I never stopped paying for that. So I don't know. And now, will this affect Google and things like that? Probably not all that much, because when you're buying a digital copy off Google, a big chunk of that money is going back to the rights holder of the movies. Google doesn't keep an awful lot of that, so I don't see it affecting them too awful much, or other services like Amazon Prime, whatever. But yeah, I can't see me buying another Star Wars movie ever, even digitally. I just don't see the purpose.
John, if you think about it, like, let's just look at Disney's output this year. Captain Marvel, Frozen 2, Dumbo, The Lion King, Star Wars Episode 9, Infinity War. Those movies would cost you what digitally? $9.99, $14.99?
Probably $14 brand new.
Okay, so you're looking at $15 for 6 or 7 movies. That's more than Disney Plus costs for the entire year.
Exactly.
And how many times are you going to watch your digital downloads? Once, twice, maybe 3 times?
Not super often.
And rather than take up space on your hard drive or whatever, you now have Disney Plus, and you can click it on whatever you want, and there it is. I mean, I hate to be talking this way because I love physical media, but I love physical media because I grew up in a world where physical media didn't exist, and then it did, and now there's digital, and you know, people can talk about, oh, it's Big Brother and the studios are controlling everything, but it was the studios that were putting out their movies on physical media. Now they're giving me a way to pipeline it right into my house, day and date.
However, not everyone always has a way to do that. Not everyone has Wi-Fi.
Is a good point.
So that is, I think, the only, I mean, like, if I went to a cabin recently at Kern and they didn't have Wi-Fi for us, so we had just physical media, and we watched, we had, like all of these movies, and they had a VHS player and a DVD player, and I'm so grateful for it because that was like our entertainment for the whole entire weekend.
I love it that you said you went to a cabin. Like you went back in time to a cabin. I think if people know they're going to a cabin
in the deep woods.
Bring a bow and arrow and go hunting.
Here's the thing, though.
Wrap
your head around this.
Raining.
How many places can you go right now, be they hotels, friends' houses, whatever, where there's a VHS player? How many places can you go where there's a VHS player? Guess what? That's what's coming for DVD players and Blu-ray players too. I would almost propose that you've got a better chance of finding. Right now, you have much better chance of finding an internet signal than you do of finding a VHS player. And pretty soon, you're going to have a better chance of finding an internet signal than a DVD or a Blu-ray player. And I would also suggest this. Even if you're going to that cabin, right, you have to remember to bring along your physical copy of the movie. What I can do is, my phone's not here. Where the hell did I put my phone? What I can do is I can take my phone before I leave. Just download the movie, because a lot of the movie services right now, they have the offline downloading capabilities to watch offline. So I'm going to want to watch these movies when I go to the cabin. Download that movie, and that movie. There, now it's on my hard drive. I just got to plug my phone into the TV when I get there. So even that pretty soon, like right now, you can still find a lot of Blu-ray and DVD players. So you're good. But pretty soon, that's going to become an issue too. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And now it's not just physical media that's in danger. Now even digital media is in danger at the hands of streaming, at the hands of month-to-month streaming. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all kind of transpires and unfolds. All right, with that down and out of the way, let's move on to the next main topic. What's the next main topic today?
Okay, next one up is from David Sickles. Hey guys, I just saw that Birds of Prey officially wrapped shooting. I hated Aquaman, but Joker looks amazing, and this Birds of Prey movie intrigues me even though it's 10 months away. What are your thoughts on them being wrapped, and what do you think of the photo logo they released with the announcement?
First of all, I gotta say, I liked Aquaman. I thought Aquaman was good, and I loved Shazam. I think DC's on a little bit of a roll, and I'm also very much looking forward to obviously very much looking forward to Wonder Woman 1984, and I'm on the Joker, obviously. The one I'm feeling a little bit mixed about, Rob, is this Birds of Prey. I'm not quite sure why this movie's being made. And maybe we won't know what the answer to that is until we actually get around to seeing it. The Birds of Prey and the Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, which I'm still not big on the title. Anyway, one of the things, though, with it wrapping, I feel like it was just 8 weeks ago. Maybe not, that we were talking about. They've started. Remember, we did a story on this show. They've started shooting Birds of Prey. And now, granted, a lot of movies shoot within 12 weeks, but this felt even shorter than that. So to me, what's my takeaway from that? My takeaway from this is that, number one, it's going to be a relatively short movie, somewhere between 90 probably and 100 or 105 minutes. I also think it's going to be a very, very visual effects light movie. That's another thing I see. But again, unlike, say, Shazam or Aquaman or Wonder Woman 84 or The Joker, I'm not quite sure why this particular movie's being made, other than the fact of, hey, Harley Quinn is really popular with the kiddos. Let's make something with her. And maybe right now I'm just not seeing it. Maybe once I see a trailer, I get it. Rob, what do you take away from all of this?
Well, I want to see kind of a crime thriller movie. I don't need world, apocalyptic, world-shaking events. I mean, I want to see like a Michael Mann movie, but with superheroes. Like Heat or Thief or something like that. And I maybe we'll get that. I think this is going to be, again, I think this is going to appeal to, you've got multiple superheroes, multiple female superheroes. I think that once again, moms and their daughters and grandmas are going to turn out for this. I think it's going to be a huge hit relative to its cost. And while I'm with you, I think it's kind of weird that they're making this movie and that it was made so quickly. But I think it's definitely more of an indicator of what DC's doing. Shazam, they kept the cost down. Shazam is up at, as of today, 258,326,000 worldwide. On as we've always pointed out on this show, not as much of it's not as spendy as other superhero movies, and it did really well in its second weekend. And I think DC is showing that we can come out, and even if we're hitting triples, we're making profitable superhero movies that people are liking. And that was their mandate. That was what Walter Hamada wanted to do. We still can take our core characters and make billion-dollar franchise films. I'm sure Wonder Woman 84 will hit $1 billion. And they're doing great. I think what they're doing, this course correction, has been a tremendous boon to the DC movies. And the fact that we're getting Joker and then Birds of Prey, pretty interesting. They're kind of going in this direction with the Gotham City sort of. They're making their own mini Gotham verse in a way. I mean, it's
without Batman.
Well, Batman's next. Batman's after Bird of Prey. They're gonna
maybe. I'll believe that when I see it. I'll believe that because they've been talking about this for 3 years. I'll believe that when I see it.
But I think it's kind of cool. I mean, who knows what we're gonna get next? Maybe we'll get a Mr. Mixelplix movie. Why not?
I'd be down for a Mr. Nobody movie at this point. Villain from Doom Patrol.
Patrol, yeah.
One of the really nice things right now as a comic book movie fan is this. Because of all the mixed reactions a lot of the DCU films would get. Now, we go into every movie we see with a degree of, please don't suck. I know I'm going to be going into Avengers Endgame with a lot of those prayers going on. But I felt like for a lot, it was to a greater degree with the DCU films for a while because so many of them were met with such mixed reviews, right? So it felt like every time we went into a DC movie, including you were with me, you went to go see Aquaman with me at the first press screening. And we were both going in, oh God, please be good. Please, please don't say, right? And after Aquaman was entertaining, and I love Shazam personally. I know there are others who don't, and that's cool. But for me personally, I now kind of feel like Joker's coming, and now that whole please don't suck is only to the same level as it is for any other movie. Now, I feel like there's a sense of optimistic anticipation going into DC movies now, whereas before it was anxiety. I felt like for a lot of people going into a DC movie, it was a sense of anxiety. Now, with the success of Aquaman, I think Shazam was a big success. We got Wonder Woman 84 coming, and with Patty Jenkins, what she did with the first one, nothing but reason to be optimistic there. I feel like now we can look forward to DC movies, and that's the big shift you were talking about. What Walter Hamada has done, he has shifted the narrative to now there is this optimistic anticipation about what the next DC movie can be, and it hasn't necessarily been that before. And I hope some of that picks up with Birds of Prey, because right now I'm just not feeling it with Birds of Prey yet. But then again, we haven't had a proper trailer yet, so let's see how that kind of unfolds. All right. With that down, let's move on to our third main topic today. Ashley, what's up next?
Okay, next one is from Clark Washington. While Hellboy was the biggest talking point about this weekend's box office, another film is worth talking about is Missing Link. While Laika films have never been moneymakers despite the love they get, this film opened to under $6 million, lower than the already low predictions it was tracking at going into the weekend. What do you think the future holds for Laika films at the multiplex after this disaster of an opening weekend?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's no way around it. Missing Link has not done well for Laika. And I remember being on this show with you, Robert, and we talked about the fact that, I just wasn't feeling it. And I love Laika movies, but there was something about Missing Link, even though I heard it's quite good, it just wasn't appealing. There was nothing about its marketing that made me go, wow, I got to go see this, And I mentioned on the show, I was very worried about how this film was going to perform. And how did it perform? Pretty much as badly as we worried. And now look, let's look at it this way, though. The Laika films have never been box office juggernauts. They've all been very well received, very good movies, but they've never done exceptionally well either on opening weekend or in their grand totals. As a matter of fact, even a couple of their best films lost money. Like you got Kubo and the Two Strings, critically the most well-received movie they've ever done, 97%, but it only opened to $12 million. And at the end of the day, it only made 70. And I think it cost them around 60 million to make. This is a movie that cost them a lot of money and hurt the company. Then we had Box Trolls. Frankly, the lowest critically rated one, honestly, is my favorite Laika movie. I love Box Trolls. 76% Rotten Tomatoes, $17 million opening. Oddly enough, the biggest opening weekend for any of their films, made $109 million. Paranorman, 88%, another well-received film, 14 million opening weekend, 107 million grand total worldwide. Coraline, 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, a $16 million opening with their biggest box office haul, $124 million worldwide box office, which leads us into The Missing Link. Again, another very well-received movie at 89%, but it makes almost just a third of what a lot of them, half of what some of them do. Missing Link makes just a hair under $6 million at the box office. And obviously that's going to mean that its grand total is not going to be all that great at the end of the day. The real unfortunate thing here is that you've got a company that puts out quality movies. Quality, original movies. And Laika is another one of those companies that whenever I hear these people cry, Hollywood doesn't make original films anymore. Yes, they do. You just don't go support them. Laika's a great example of that. They put out great, wonderful, fun, imaginative, original films, and people just simply don't go out to support them. Now, granted, Missing Link, I didn't support Missing Link either because nothing about it looked intriguing to me. Rob, the big worry here is Laika is a small company. They're not a big juggernaut like a Disney or a Universal or a Paramount. They're a small company. And when a small company, like Disney can take a $20 million loss on a movie and go, okay, brush it off and move on. They don't like it. It hurts. Some people might lose jobs, but they brush it off and then move on. For a company like Laika that's as small as it is, taking a $10, $20, $30 million bath can be crippling. Now, I haven't heard anything about Laika's now in danger. I haven't heard any of that. But when you look at a company that size and the type of money they're going to lose on this, aren't we correct to be a little bit worried for them? How do you see this? Or am I overreacting to it? What do you think?
I kind of have a different take on this whole thing.
Good.
Kubo and the Two Strings won the Academy Award for Best Animated Film. Best Animated Film. Laika was a company that was founded by Travis Knight, who is the son of, I believe his name's Phil Knight, the founder of Nike.
And then Travis went on to direct Bumblebee.
Right. But this company is financed by Nike. And so they what Phil Knight has done for his son was basically, here, set up this company, son. I want you to. Travis Knight was famously, he tried to be a rapper at one point in his early 20s. He tried a lot of things. And his father set him up. They created Laika Studios up there in Portland with Nike money, and they've really created, as you pointed out, great animated fare. And while they haven't been, say, done Pixar numbers, within just a few films, they ended up winning Best Picture at the Academy Awards. If there's ever any losses, first of all, this is a great way to launder money for a company like Nike. But I really think that if you're the founder of Nike and your son is Travis Knight, and this is what he's done with his money, he's done pretty well for himself. I think that Laika is going to be creating movies, hopefully, for a long time to come. Some are going to hit, some are not. They're already winning Best Animated Film. They're beating Pixar. They're beating Disney at their own game. A young upstart. I think this company is well funded. I don't think we have to worry about it losing any kind of money, because that's all taken care of in the corporate balance sheets, because they don't have to borrow hundreds of millions of dollars like the studios do to make their movies. I mean, studios don't have a pot of money they're sitting on. They borrow money to make their films. I don't think Laika has to do that. And I'm sure they have a corporate structure that works much differently than Hollywood does. So I think we're going to see Laika stick around for a long time. And, in the long run, these films work very well in the ancillary markets. They do still work in physical media. People buy them. Kids love them. So it's going to be around for a while. And at least this is my take on it. And hopefully they do, because they're doing something. The way they've kept stop motion alive, you're not employing thousands and thousands of people all over the world. The cost of these movies is not nearly what a Pixar movie is to make. So hopefully, Missing Link, I think maybe that won't be okay, but Laika is going to be okay.
I don't know, man. I think you are overly optimistic about, I don't care who your company is. When you lose somebody $30 million, it ain't just okay. Even if it's daddy's $30 million. Because even at the end of the day, daddy's got to answer to a board of directors about where their money's going. I mean, you can't just keep, businesses are in business to make money.
Of course.
And if you're a thing that just constantly loses money, eventually they're going to pull the plug on that, and Travis might go back to rapping. Or, Travis can just go on now and focus on revitalizing the Transformers industry, right? Maybe he can just go on and revitalize Transformers with the great job he did in Bumblebee. I really do think there is reason to worry. You never just get to lose. I remember once, I won't go into the details, but I borrowed like $200 from my dad once to do something with, and it ended up being a total waste. And it was a while before I got $200 from my dad again. Understandably so. So I don't know, you make a movie and it loses $25 million, and then you make another movie and it might be poised to lose $30 or $40 million. At some point, blood only goes so far, and you gotta say, hey, this doesn't work for us business-wise. We're pouring money into it and we're getting nothing out. I'm worried about, I'll tell you what, I'm worried about Laika. And unfortunately, an Academy Award doesn't get it all the money in the world. I'm worried. I'm in fear, Rob. Make me not fear, Rob. Say something right now that's going to make me not afraid.
I do think that there's an issue of how this company is funded. And, corporations can always use a loss on the books. If you're a very, very successful corporation that makes a lot of money every year selling footwear, maybe you need these losses to sort of offset your profits, because otherwise you might just be paying that into the government coffers.
You know what I discovered, though? As a business owner, what I discovered? You make more money making money than the money you save on claiming losses. You can save some tax money claiming losses, but you come out much more ahead if you actually make money. I don't know. It's weird. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right.
I'd rather make money, but I would like to think, maybe it's wishful thinking on my part, but I think Laika keeps their costs down when they're making movies, and I think that they will. This is really their one disappointing opener, but I think in the long run, Laika's going to be okay.
I hope you're right, man. I really hope you're right. Okay, with that down, What is our next main topic today, Ashley?
Next up is from Jeff Singer. I'm sure you've heard by now about the news of a Tomb Raider sequel. This came as a big surprise to me considering the first film didn't make the 275 mil that Deadline said it needed to break even, and the fact that the film wasn't all that well received by critics, 52%, or audiences, B cinema score. So my question is, what are the chances this film actually gets made instead of being one of the many films that gets put into development but never gets the cameras rolling?
I'll tell you what, I actually quite enjoyed this Tomb Raider movie. And I said this, and this isn't saying much. It's not saying much at all, actually. I think it's the best video game adaptation movie that's ever been made. And it's not even all that great. I mean, but I thought Tomb Raider with Alicia Vikander was actually pretty okay. Was it great? No. Did it have issues? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I came out of that movie feeling like I had a pretty damn good time. I had a pretty good time with this film. And anyway, when you compare it to the performance of, say, the previous Tomb Raiders with a much bigger star, Angelina Jolie, even critically, it did pretty good. Like the first Tomb Raider had a 20% critic rating. The second one had a 25% critic rating. This one more than doubles that. Like actually the majority of critics at 52%, it's still not a great number, but it means the majority of critics actually like the film, which you can't often say about video game adapted movies. Also, financially, I think it did kind of break even. Now, look, at the end of the day, the movie cost $94 million to make, which means it needs to come in around $270, $280 to break even. Well, it made $274. So again, you're not in business to break even. You're in business to make money. But hey, it's not so bad. It's actually a step in the right direction. Had a very modest opening weekend of 23, but then actually had some pretty decent legs. Got it all the way to almost $275 million worldwide. Are these the types of numbers, both critically and, say, financially? Are these the types of numbers that would make you feel confident that you're going to get a sequel? No. Right. And I'll be honest with you, I am also, while I am pleased to hear that they're moving forward with this sequel, I'm pleased about it because I thought the first one was pretty okay, and I think there's potential to do it better moving forward. I will admit I'm surprised. Because I remember saying after watching, after seeing Tomb Raider and seeing the initial financial results, I said, man, I actually kind of like this movie, but it's never going to get a sequel. I mean, look at the finances. But I guess somebody at the studio thought, you know what? We think enough people liked it that we think we can do better than breaking even moving forward. And at least it didn't lose them a ton of money. So I'm happy they're doing it. I'm surprised they're doing it. The chances that it actually gets made, I'll give it a 70% chance. I give it a 70% chance that at this point, after hearing this news, 70% chance this movie actually happened. Rob, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way you are. But again, like with these movies, we don't know how many digital downloads it got. I mean, Tomb Raider has been a favorite video game franchise for a long time. The first Tomb Raider movie, as you pointed out, had a 20% Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah.
And it still made money to the point where they made, a second one. So I think with video game movies like this, there is a market out there, a secondary market that's larger than some franchise pictures might have. And clearly, if there's talk of it, if they can keep the price down and not spend $200 million, but spend more along the lines of what Shazam was doing. Like I think this idea of making these movies for $150 million has become almost lazy as far as Hollywood is concerned. I think that they need to start using more creativity when they make these movies, and just rather than have whatever effects budget that's unlimited, figure out ways to make these movies and rely more on physical effects, and they can bring their costs down and still deliver satisfying content. And I think that there's this thought that, this stuff just costs this amount of money. And I think if you have more and more creative producers coming in on these projects, they can make them for a price and not break the bank, in which case it makes sense to make another film because it doesn't have to cover so much expenditure up front.
All right. With that down, let's move on to the next topic. Ashley, what is the next one up today?
I I'm like, let the girl make another film. She gained 12 pounds of muscle for that film.
She looked, first of all, not only did she look amazing, like physically, I remember they did videos, to your point, Ashley, where she was doing like just her exercises to do it. And she was doing these chin-ups. She had muscles in her back that I didn't know existed.
Yes.
Like she got herself in incredible shape, and she who cares about that? She was really good. I thought she was really good in the movie. I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it.
I liked it too. I mean, it's not like I didn't go to the theater and see it, but I watched it at home, and it was a nice little flick. And I thought she did a kick-ass job with the stunts, and she's a beautiful, wonderful actress. And so I enjoyed it. I'm glad there's a sequel coming out.
I hope it actually happens.
Yeah,
All
if
right.
it does.
What's next?
All right, next up is from William Stryker. We really are in the final countdown to Avengers Endgame now, with it coming next week. Last year, you did a video breaking down the odds of who you think will die in Infinity War. Well, it's time for your predictions on who will no longer be alive and alive and well at the end of Endgame. So tell us, who dies? Can't wait for Endgame.
Yeah, and we are, I guess I am 6 days away from seeing it. All of us late next week, we're all going to see it. We're right there. And yes, you're right. Last year, actually, it's funny. One of the most engaged videos we did last year going into Infinity War was our video talking about, okay, percentage of chance of who dies in Infinity War. We should have gone everybody. But anyway, so here we are again. I said I would do it again this year, so that's what we're going to do. Let's look at, I'm going to set out a chart here for the chances that some key characters are going to die. Now, there's going to be a number of characters we don't see here because either they're not major characters or we already know for 100% certain that they are going to survive or be at least alive at the end of Endgame. You know, we know WandaVision show is coming. We know Bucky and Falcon show is coming. You know, all that kind of stuff. So we're not putting them on, but we got all the major first run Avengers. We know Hawkeye has his own show coming. They just announced that. But so here we go. Here are how I'm going to break this down. And Rob, then I'm going to want to get your opinions on this. Leading the way in our Avengers Endgame Deadpool, Captain Rogers, Captain America himself, leads the way. I believe he is the most likely to die and be dead at the end of Endgame. By the time Endgame's final credits roll, the chances that he's not breathing anymore, I'm going to give a 47% chance. I think he's the highest chance. Of course, a lot has been made of the fact that Chris Evans, his contract is now up. Doesn't preclude him from signing another one because Robert Downey Jr.'s contract expired at one time too. And here he is. But anyway, so that on top of the fact that he's always been the one about sacrifice and all that kind of stuff, I believe that gets him the highest percentage chance of him expiring by the end of this movie at 47%. Next up is going to be Tony, the other guy who's been around since the beginning of the MCU. Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark, Iron Man. I give him the second highest chance of being dead at the end of this thing at 35%. Now, I put in Black Widow, and you might be saying, but John, we already know Black Widow movie's coming. Yes. The only reason I have Black Widow in here, and here's why I gave her a 5% chance of being dead at the end of this, is because what does Marvel do more than anything else? Fake deaths. I could see a 5%, very tiny, a 5% possibility that they kill off Black Widow in this movie. Her death triggers something in the team or in Hulk or whatever. And then, you know, Black Widow movie begins with her, of course, resurrection. Unlikely, yes, but I at least thought I should squeeze that in there at a 5%. Next up, another guy whose contract is up, Thor, Chris Hemsworth. I got him listed at a 25% chance of being dead by the time this movie ends. The reason I have him a little bit smaller of a chance than, say, Tony or Captain America is because Thor has never been more popular in the MCU than he is today. Thanks to Thor Ragnarok and the incredible role he played in Avengers Infinity War, I still think he definitely has one of the biggest chances of being dead at the end of this movie, but a slightly smaller one than Tony or Steve, so I got him at 25%. Also right up there is Hulk. I think there's a good chance that Hulk is dead at the end of this movie. I give him a 24% chance. Why would I think that? Well, a couple reasons. Number one, out of all the Disney Plus shows, he's certainly not mentioned in any of them. Number two, Disney's been in for a years-long battle with Universal over the distribution rights of Hulk, which is what has prevented Disney from being able to make Hulk movies. Disney can make Hulk movies if they want, but if they make a Hulk movie, Universal has the rights to distribute it, and they don't want to do that. So that's been basically handcuffing Disney. So they haven't been wanting to make one. So I can see them just doing, yeah, you know what? Screw it. Let's kill Hulk. Likely, maybe not, but I think a strong possibility. I got him at 24%. Then I got Ant-Man. Now, this despite the fact that there has been talk about a third Ant-Man movie coming. Nothing's been made official. I kind of feel like Ant-Man, once this movie's done, I feel like Ant-Man has served his narrative purpose. I love the first Ant-Man movie. I quite enjoyed the second one. But I kind of feel like his narrative purpose in this series might be getting close to being played out. I think he'll play a big role in this movie, and a 20% chance that he's dead at the end. Then we come to Nebula. Nebula is kind of the one of these things is not like the others character, because all these are core Avengers characters, been around for a while. But she is now there, a part of it. She has suffered at the hands of Thanos. I can see some big tragic thing happening where she ultimately dies fighting Thanos. Anyway, I'm going to give her a 23% chance that she's dead at the end of this thing. And then even though I said Hawkeye's got his own series, again, I could see Marvel playing the fake death card once again. That at the end of this, Hawkeye dies, avenging his family, whatever. But then at the beginning of the next movie, they just resurrect him somehow, some way. I can see them doing that. So that's how I've got this playing out right now. 47% chance for Captain America, 35% chance for Iron Man, 5% for Black Widow, 25% for Thor, 24% for the Hulk, 20% for Ant-Man, 23% for Nebula, and a little 8% chance there for Hawkeye being dead at the end. Rob, I just broke that all down. What are the chances you seeing of who may be alive and who may be dead?
Well, I think Captain America is probably the best bet, only because you've got two men that can step into his shoes, at least in the comics. Both Winter Soldier, both Bucky, and Sam Wilson could. They've all both accepted the mantle of Captain America in the past, and I think that basically after this Infinity Saga comes to a close, they have to start again. They have to do something new. They can't just keep playing the same beats. They've been doing it for a decade now. And I think what we're going to see is a contraction in the MCU, and we're going to start over and build up again with familiar characters and new ones to another Avengers movie. And I can see Steve Rogers bowing out, because then he becomes the symbol that the Avengers, they hold him up. He becomes their martyr, whatever, however you want to call it. I don't think Tony Stark's going to die. I think he's going to be the elder statesman that's going to go on and advise the Avengers. He'll drop the armor. He'll probably become a family man with Pepper. He'll become the consultant. But I don't think he's going to die. I think maybe Hulk. I think it's sound reasoning that you have there. Nebula, I don't think they'd kill her, because I think her relationship with Gamora is important. And if Gamora comes back, I think James Gunn is going to want to have those two characters to play with and see what they can do. We've never seen them as happy sisters together yet. It'd be nice to see Gamora and Nebula kick some ass together. I'd like to see that. I think we're going to keep Paul Rudd around, because everybody likes Paul Rudd. You don't want to kill Ant-Man. He's already Ant-Man.
We all like Steve Rogers too. I mean, right?
Yeah, but you got to have a victory comes with sacrifice, and he's always been a man out of time. He shouldn't be where he is. He already sacrificed himself once to kill Red Skull, to defeat Hydra back in the day, and this is just death making its inevitable, relentless charge towards him. He was a man out of time, and it's his time. I mean, he got more time than he thought he was going to get. And I don't think. So
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then. Let's go through each one of these characters. I want to get you to take an over/under on each one of my selections there. A greater chance that they're dead at the end, or less of a chance that they're dead at the end. So let's take a look at this. I got Steve Rogers at the highest at 47% chance he's dead at the end. Higher or lower chance?
Higher.
You're going to go higher on that. Tony Stark at 35% he's dead.
Lower.
Going to take under on that. Black Widow at just 5%.
Lower.
Even lower than 5. Okay, going to lower than 5. Thor at 25%.
Like you pointed out, I don't think he's going to die because he's more popular than he's ever been, so I'm going to take under.
Under the 25%. All right. We got Hulk right now sitting at 24%.
I think Hulk, as we know him, perhaps higher.
Ooh, higher. Okay.
Yeah.
Scott Lang, Ant-Man.
Lower.
Lower on that. Nebula, 23%.
Lower.
And I'm curious to hear what you say about this one. Hawkeye at 8%.
He's got a show coming. I'm going to go lower on that.
So you're going to take the lower on that as well. All right, guys, listen, I want to know, what do you guys think about that particular chart? You go over or under any of those numbers. And is there somebody like, again, Okoye, not the most major character in there. You know, another character maybe I should have thrown in there was War Machine. Because he has been around since Iron Man 1. That's one I maybe should have thrown in there. I'd probably set War Machine pretty high. I'd probably set War Machine at like almost a Thor number. I think I'd set War Machine at like a 25%, like pretty high. Would you go over or under that?
I don't know. They already crippled the poor guy. I think if Tony Stark retires, you keep Rhodey around so somebody's in a suit.
Could be.
I think, and maybe... wouldn't it be cool if Ironheart, they bring in the Ironheart character, a younger girl that Rhodey can mentor her? I mean, after all, Rhodey is he's both an Iron Man and he's a soldier, so he can sort of accept the mantle of both Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, sort of, in a way.
Although some people have brought up, in some of our viewers have brought up, though, if you want to have a big, deep, tragic moment for Tony Stark and you don't want to kill Pepper, Rhodey be a pretty one to do. So I don't know. That's going to be an interesting one too. All right, guys, with all that down and out of the way, we're going to save some time here and take your live questions. A bunch of you guys have been firing them in like crazy. So let's not waste any more time and get right to it. Ashley, what is our first live question today?
I gotta say, that was like watching a game on The Price is Right. With a lot higher stakes. The price is death. Okay.
The price is death.
Is Kevin Brown. Me and my friends have turned every time you say every time to say to Ashley, all right, what's next, into a drinking game. LOL.
It does get said a lot in this show, absolutely. So what's next?
That's right. I can't believe someone would record all the spoilers from Endgame and release it just 10 days away. Be forewarned and be careful what you click, people.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's unfortunate. It sucks. We knew there were going to be spoilers that got leaked online. There's just too many people that have access to a movie like this, even as much as you try to keep security tight. It sucks, but it is what it is. All right, what's next?
Chandra Sakara, the new Endgame TV spot, To the End, looks amazing and brings tears, brings back nostalgia of seeing Iron Man and all the other movies 10 years ago. #9days.
Absolutely, it does. And you know what, Ashley? Unfortunately, your audio's breaking up here, so I'll take over the reading for the rest of the questions because your audio's breaking up there a little bit. And we will just catch you next time, Ashley. Thanks for being here and being a part of this.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. I'll see you mañana.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right,
okay. What was that? Oh, yeah, the new Endgame. So again, yeah, it's a shame. I don't know why anybody feels the need to do stuff like that. It's absolutely crappy, and it's just people suck, Rob. Sometimes people just suck, and it's.
I still believe in the overall goodness of mankind. It's just lonely, pathetic, idiotic individuals with not a lot going on in their lives have to just ruin it for the rest of us.
How great would it be if it was all a big misdirect and Disney leak that stuff out? That they actually went through all the trouble to make this big fake thing and leak it out. It would be the ultimate misdirect. It's not what happened, but it would be the ultimate misdirect. Okay, let's see here. Where are we at? Why is my stuff not working?
That's what she said. Just kidding.
There we go. Okay, Kevin Brown writes, over under 33%, Endgame reaches 2.3 billion. Ooh. That's a good, because most people want to say 3 billion or 2.5. 33% it hits 2.3 billion. That's a good number.
It is.
Ooh.
I'm going over.
I wouldn't take over on 50, but I'll take the over on 33%. I'll take the over on, if you're laying line at 33%, it'll get you, I'll take the action on that. I'll go over 33%. All right.
We should start a real betting pool. Is there a place we can send money in?
Oh, that would be illegal. Just for logistics sakes, I just want to make it clear. Robert Meyer Burnett is kidding. Okay. Anyway, Jay Bling writes, my semi joke about. Oh yes, I heard about this. My semi joke. Oh, sorry, I'm upset. Writes over under 2%. John's Incredible Hulk cameo beats Thanos. I can't say. I got to keep that under wraps for now. Jay Bling writes, my semi-joke about being excited for a new movie from the directors of You, Me, and Dupree went over your heads. It was directed by the Russo brothers. Yes, I keep forgetting that they did that movie because we know that they did sitcoms. I thought
about that after we went off the air. I was like,
not a great movie, by the way. Not a great movie.
No, but I liked it.
So to imagine that the guys who made You, Me, and Dupree, which is not all that great, would go on to make like some of the most celebrated comic book movies in history. That's saying something. That's saying something. All right. Next up, Matsiv Jada writes, who do you think needs/should get a comeback? Oh, I don't know. That's a huge question. I'd have to think about that. I'd have to think about that long and hard. Anybody just off the top of your head, Rob?
In what area? I mean,
yeah, I know.
Talking about MMA
it's a little bit too big, broad, and vague. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I'd say the character of Steel.
Oh, the character
of Steel needs.
I don't know, man. I think Shaq buried that deep. I think Shaq buried that so deep it's going to be hard to ever see him hit the light of day again. But it would be intriguing if they did it properly.
Mike Coulter, man, he can come back, please.
Kyle Starr writes, Thanos knows Tony because Tony seeks the Soul Stone in Endgame, just like Red Skull was cursed with knowledge, knowing Thanos because he seeks the Soul Stone as well. Nah, no, not at all. Look, it's really the simplest explanation is the most reasonable one here. He knew who Tony was because he knew at the end of the first Avengers there was a team of heroes on Earth that stopped his forces. So he knew who they all were. He researched them, just like if you're going to go an NBA team that they're in the playoffs right now, it's about to play another team, they watch the tape. They watch the film, they research who their opponents are. That's all there is to it. It's nothing more complicated than that, I don't think. Doshi writes, I'm just getting into Game of Thrones for the first time on the second episode. Whew, you got a long way to go, my friend. Shout out from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Thank you so much, Doshi. Dude, you are in a very peculiar situation and in a very delicate situation. You've got to avoid spoilers for the new season of Game of Thrones massively. So get through that as much as possible. Rob, what would be your best piece of advice for him at this point?
I would turn off the internet. Turn off the TV, accept the TV or the screen that you're watching Game of Thrones on, and take the next 7 weeks and then come back out.
That's going to take a while to get through all those. Okay. Chandra Sakara writes, guys, be alert. I just saw a warning post from MCU Direct that Major Leak about the Endgame hit online. Dude, why are some people trying to ruin the Endgame experience? Yeah, again, we've been talking about it. It's really unfortunate and sad that there are some people who are just such idiots. Murray Reich writes, today marks 19 years ago that the Patriots selected Tom Brady with the 199th overall draft pick, and the rest is history. Hashtag not a Pats fan, but respect for the GOAT. It is, like, seriously, you don't even have to be a sports fan. Go look up the greatest player of all time. He was almost not even selected.
Yeah.
How many, was it 7 quarterbacks that were selected ahead of him? And none of them are in the NFL anymore. Like, so there were all these other quarterbacks selected in front of him, 198 other players. He was like the last pick of the draft. He barely got into the NFL. It's a great story. Even if you're not a sports fan, that's an incredible story. And then, of course, he went on to beat the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. What a time. You remember that, really? Right, Rob?
You got to go there. But guess who just signed the most lucrative contract in the NFL, yo?
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Man, Russell Wilson, kabam.
That was a mistake. I like Russell Wilson. I like Russell. He is not the best quarterback in the league. He's not. They just sunk their entire financial future by making him the highest paid player in history. He is not.
The Jedi Knights of the Pacific Northwest will rise again, my son. Dude, they will be the rise of Skywalker, all in green and blue. Because you and I
talked about this. I thought Seattle should retain Russell Wilson. I like Russell Wilson very much. I'd have him as quarterback on my team. He is not a top 5 quarterback in the league. He is not deserving of the richest contract in the history of the NFL. I think this is going to hurt them long term because now there's going to be holes they need to fill that they're just not going to have the money for now. I think this is going to hurt. I think this is going to hurt them because I'm a Seattle fan, not as much as I am a New England Patriot fan, but I don't know. I didn't like that signing. I don't like that signing. We'll have to wait and see. He's a good quarterback though. All right. Murray Reich writes, Leafs up 2-1. Let's go, Leafs. Absolutely. Go, Leafs. Go there. I said they would beat the Bruins. I said they would get beat by the Bruins last year, and they did. But I said they're going to beat the Bruins this year. They will. They're up 2-1. Keeping my fingers crossed. All right. Willow Yang writes, one does not simply use the bathroom during Return of the King. One sits quietly with eyes glued to the screen until Into the West has finished. Well, Willow, that's easy to say. There are lots of things that are easy to say. I'm going to go, I don't know, I'm going to go beat up Khabib. I'm going to go beat up Khabib. See how easy it is to say? But Khabib is the baddest man on the planet, and he's going to kill me inside of 30 seconds. It's easy to say you shouldn't go to the bathroom. It's easy to say. Much harder to do, especially in a movie the length of A Return of the King.
Willow's the scientist, man. She's a molecular biologist. I think one of her lots in life is going to be to discover how a human being can sit for 3.5 hours and not have to pee in a movie.
But when you gotta go, you gotta go. You know this. It doesn't, you can do anything you want to do. Nature is still nature, man. It's the easiest thing in the world. All right. Doshi writes, I just want to say I try not to miss an episode of the John Campea Show. It's like a religion. Got to watch it every day. Hashtag Han had to come. And thank you so much, Doshi. It's great having you here. And it's awesome to have all of you guys here who are part of the show.
Thanks a lot, Doshi.
The Han part. Amin writes, how different do you think theories and discussions would be if the title was Rise of Skywalker or Rise of the Skywalker instead of The Rise of Skywalker? And don't laugh. That little placement of a single word can change things. I don't know if it would be vastly different. I think even if it was called Rise of the Skywalker, it would change some things, but I think fundamentally still the big predominant theories would still be the big predominant theories. Rob, do you see any big difference there if it's where you move the word the?
Look, Rise of the means there's one. Rise of Skywalker could mean a person, or as we talked about yesterday so eloquently, I find.
But it doesn't necessarily mean one, because you say the Jedi, that's plural.
Yeah, but since when has Skywalker been, Skywalkers?
But if they take on the moniker, of Skywalker, you can say the Skywalker. That could be used plural.
The question has been asked. The title asks a question that it doesn't answer, and the movie will answer that question. And I think that's what's great about it.
Yeah, there's
a lot of the Skywalker. It limits the question.
All right, next one up. Doshi writes, over under 20%, they remake Lion King 2. No, I'll take the well under on that. I'll take the well under on that.
Me too.
They may make a Lion King 2, but it won't be a remake of the existing Lion King 2. Jordan Solis writes, hypothetical. You're going on a 6-hour road trip to wherever. What singer/band/rapper are each of you listening to on the drive to pass the time? Well, that's easy for me. It's U2. U2's my all-time favorite band. I listen to a lot of different types of music, but I'm listening to U2. What do you listen to, Rob?
Prince.
Ooh, I didn't know that. I knew you liked Prince.
I am a fanatical Prince fan, and I can listen to Prince forever.
Did you go to any of his shows when he did like 6 nights in a row at the at LA Coliseum?
Yeah, no, he did. I went to 4 of those.
Really?
At the Forum. And
the Forum, that's right. And went to 2.
The Forum, and they were different every night, and tickets were only $25. I've seen him at Staples Center. One of the best shows I ever went to was, I want to say, he played the Whiskey. No, it was maybe the Rainbow. They announced the show like 2 hours in advance. You had to drive there within those 2 hours and get in. It's unbelievable.
All right. Andrew Garfield writes, Rob, thoughts on Russell Wilson staying in Seattle? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hope they can build a good team around him with the little money they have left. All right. Cameron Peterson writes, I orgasmed at that new trailer, the theme songs. Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, especially for a trailer. I mean, theoretically speaking, if you told me, hey, a new trailer, it's just a lot of footage from old movies and a bunch of footage for the new movie that we've already seen, I would go, well, why would I bother watching it then? But it surprisingly works, Rob. I mean, I was surprised how much I felt watching that thing, right?
Yeah.
All right. Next one. Kick It to the King Productions writes, how about to put a bow on it? At the end of Dark Phoenix, we see Professor X's Patrick Stewart talking to Wolverine, catching him up with the history he missed that we saw at the end of Days of Future Past. Nah, I mean, they've already made it. I mean, while there's something poetic about that, Kick It to the King, absolutely. The fact of the matter is, they've made it very clear Hugh Jackman's not appearing again as Wolverine. Would there be something poetic to that? Yes. But there would also be something a little bit anticlimactic to it, since we all know that Logan ends up dying, even though it's not really all in the same timeline, because continuity, schmontinuity when it comes to the X-Men films. But yeah, I think if Hugh Jackman were going to come out of retirement to do any kind of a small spot, I think he would have done it in Deadpool 2. I think that would have been the most appropriate spot. I don't see him doing this. Rob, do you think there's any chance he does that for this?
No, I think he's done.
All right, so probably not going to see that. All right, Murray Reich writes, Luke, no one is ever really gone. Kevin Feige, true dat. Yeah, Kevin Feige's like, fake deaths, all fake deaths, no one's ever gone. KW Garrett writes, I'm saving up for Campea Plus, featuring cosplay with Anne and Kaori, Kaori Hour with John Wide Angle Lens, shows with Lily and Shadow, and Giovanni Sports Chat. There you go. Maybe that's the lesson to be taken away from here, Rob. Maybe we should start the John Campea Plus channel, and we'll make it a premium, only $75 a month, and you get to watch me eating breakfast, and you get to hear me sing in the shower, and I don't know what else. I'm at a loss. Every day, Rob will give you a guided tour of a hot toy or something along those lines. I mean, everybody else is doing it. Why not? Okay, Brennan M. writes, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday, Brennan. Best way to start it is here. Well, we're awfully glad that you're here joining us, and I hope you have a great one, Brennan. All right, Anthony DeRizio writes, dude, Lucifer is awesome. Oh, damn right it is. Lucifer is awesome. I was hooked after 2 minutes, so I called off work so I can binge all 3 seasons. Here's hoping, Anthony, that you're either not using your actual username or that nobody else at your work watches the show. Absolutely. Actually, just yesterday, I did a companion video, and we were talking about how the whole topic was, how did Lucifer get away with all the stuff they did on that show? Because they did an awful lot of filthy, filthy things on that show. Some gloriously filthy things, but filthy things nonetheless. Actually, let me just give me a second here to see. Rob, I don't know, did you ever watch Lucifer?
Yeah, after your recommendation, watched pretty much the first season, and then I sampled the 3rd season. By the way, did you see the trailer for the new season?
No, I still haven't seen the trailer for the new season.
The homoerotic fashion ad where you just look at his beautiful body in the swimming pool and then he gets out. It was perfect.
I have not seen it, and I'm trying to find the thumbnail I put up for yesterday's show, because I thought the thumbnail I put up for yesterday's video was really funny, but I can't find it. So anyway, we'll just move on from here. I'm glad you're liking it, Anthony, because I love that damn show. Mark Newman writes, with these rumored Endgame leaks, hope you'll be extra careful reading displaying super chats till it's out. My eyes off the chat because of that. Well, I got fact checker Jonathan, and I've got Ray moderating the board, so hopefully they'll keep their eyes open for that. We should be good. Sean Anthony writes, day off, drinking beers, eating Chinese food, loving the channel and content. Keep going, John Robert Nasher. You're doing God's work. Love from Ottawa. Well, thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate that. It's kind of crazy how many people I have writing in that are from Ottawa. I love the Ottawa area. I spent a lot of time at the lakes surrounding, like the Big Rideau and Little Rideau lakes. I spent time in Kingston. I dated somebody from up there. I love the Ottawa area. So thanks so much for sharing your day off with us, Sean. Stubble McShave writes, Disney Plus price is primarily a threat to other small streaming services such as CBS All Access and similar upstarting streaming services rather than Netflix. I disagree, Stubble, and here's why. Because these other streaming services like Disney or CBS All Access, for one example, CBS All Access is built on the premise of their own original content. That's what it is. A lot of Disney, Rob, you and I talked about this the other day. A lot of Netflix's business, the vast majority of Netflix's bandwidth, is not people watching original Netflix's series, but is watching curated content from other networks.
Right.
So when something like Disney comes along, and it's like, sorry, we've got our own home for our own content, and takes all that stuff off there, and now you've got CBS All Access doing their thing, and DC streaming with their own original content. A Disney Plus doesn't become a threat to the DC streaming service. A Disney Plus doesn't become a threat to a CBS All Access. It becomes a threat to the place that was primarily makes its bread and butter off of curated content that's not their own. And so, I mean, that's how I see it. Rob, do you see it any other way?
No, I completely agree with you. Disney, the great thing about Disney is they own everything already. I mean, I'm curious because they've got so many series that I used to like Davy Crockett from the 50s with Fess Parker, and they've got that weird like Zorro show or whatever. And then all the Disney, the Vault stuff, like the Tomorrowland Vault stuff. I mean, there's so much. I can't wait. I hope they put everything up.
And they're going to put a lot of it. All right. Amin writes, what are the chances Marvel possibly takes a slightly longer break after Far From Home and we don't actually get a film in May 2020? No, we're getting a film in May 2020, and I believe... Then we already hear that's pretty much, it's been leaked that it's going to be Black Widow. I believe Black Widow is going to hit May 2020. They're going to go into production on it in the next few weeks. I think like mid-May. And it's still have it ready in a year, I think. Rob, do you think there's any chance that they don't actually release a film on that whole date they have?
No, I think they're going to do it.
All right.
Yeah, they will.
All right. Mahesh Anna writes, there has been a massive video leak of Endgame. Yep, we've been talking about it most of the day. It's really unfortunate that that's the case. Louis Dudash just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Louis. Appreciate that. Zachary Buckler writes, to avoid any spoilers, I'm cutting ties to all social media next week. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. Like Michael Scott. Hey, listen, there's a lot of people, Rob, and it is unfortunate. We shouldn't have to avoid social media, because we should be able to rely on the basic human decency of people not to jump online and just blather spoilers all over the place. But the fact of the matter is people suck and there are idiots doing that. I mean, like, I can't remember a time that more people have felt the need that they're just going to have to stay off social media because of this. Rob, can you?
No, and you know what? If you're going to at least have the common courtesy to make it technically proficient. The guy who made this leak couldn't even hold a camera correctly. I mean, it's to me, it's social vandalism of the highest order. It's the same reason you don't go into a theater and scream fire. I mean, I'm sorry, but if your lot in life is just to ruin as many fans' lives as possible, what good are you? Do something else with your time, man.
I hope they find this guy. I hope they sue the living hell out of him. I hope they get prosecuted. I hope they get jail time. All this, at the end of the day, they just leaked a movie. But it is such a selfish, inconsiderate thing that will hurt Disney financially. It has hurt a lot of fans' expectations. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. Is there anything? Look, did he murder somebody? No. But he has damaged the enjoyment of a lot of people over something he knew was illegal. So I hope they catch him and I hope he goes to jail.
As on a larger perspective, as an independent filmmaker myself, it's things like this that has cost the independent horror movie film world dearly, because this kind of piracy really destroys the profitability of low budget independent films. And that's what people don't realize. They snicker and go, hey, look what I've done, click. And what they're really doing is they're taking away. I mean, I understand Disney's a hugely profitable company, but it's the idea of piracy itself that ruins the ability for emerging and up-and-coming filmmakers, fans that want to make films and transition to becoming professionals. It hurts them the most, and it needs to end.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on here. Next one up comes to us from a spectator who writes, I'm a big fan of yours, Mr. Campea. Thank you so much. I admire your ability to articulate your thoughts and feelings. What advice can you give somebody who is working to improve their speaking ability? The best advice that I always give, that I can possibly give, is something that a lot of people are uncomfortable doing. But it's whenever you record yourself, either in a podcast, on a video, whatever, go back and watch and listen to it over and over again. Now, if some people see you doing that, some people might say, oh, you're so full of yourself, just want to listen to yourself talk. No, it is the only way. It is the best way that you will actually improve. Listen to yourself over and over again. If you record something else tomorrow, listen to that over and over again. Start picking out your strengths, start picking out your weaknesses and address your weaknesses, and understand you're always going to be in that process. I go for either a long walk every day on my treadmill or around our neighborhood here. We live in a kind of a pretty neighborhood. I'll go for long walks every day, and I'll always bring my Bose headphones, pop on the most recent thing that I recorded. Not because I want to listen to how brilliant I am, but because I need to listen to myself and hear myself from the perspective of an audience member and pick up on the things I need to do better. The best piece of advice I have for anybody and if you're writing blogs, read your own blog posts 100 times. If you're recording podcasts, listen to yourself 100 times. If you're doing YouTube videos, watch yourself 100 times. It's the only way you're going to get better, and it's the only way you're going to start picking up on the things you need to improve. Rob, do you got any piece of advice for somebody to improve their verbal communication?
I think that I've learned a great deal listening to you about podcasting, and I think that was very sage-like, wise advice. You can't look. You're going to be your own worst critic. No one's going to be harder on yourself than you are. And watching yourself and learning your shortcomings, learning things that you need to work on. First of all, that requires critical acumen of yourself. And it's an important thing to do. And it can only help you in the long run. And if you really do want to improve your public speaking, the best way to do that is to speak.
Yeah, just do it. Like I said, people ask me, how do I get writing? Start writing. Just write any gibberish you want. Write even gibberish. You can't steer a car that's parked. You can only steer a car that's in motion. I love that saying. All right, what's next here? Just Plain Steve writes, just came across a movie show of yours from 2015. You, Schnepp, Ellis, and Mova, all eyes to the future, but man, what a panel. How great is it to have worked with so many amazing people in your career. I'll tell you what, Steve, I think my best strength is communication. That's my best strength. And there are a lot of things that I have not been great at. A lot of things I've not been great at. But
come on, bro.
No, it's true. I mean, just watch one of my play-in chats, Rob, to see how not good I am at a lot of things. There are a number of things I'm really not good at. But I think, honestly, if I were trying to do an honest self-appraisal of myself, I'd say one of my biggest strengths, and I'm most proud of this, is I think I have an ability to identify talent in people and then foster that talent and learn how to, like, John Schnepp was a great on-camera communicator, but I think I was particularly good at knowing how to set him up. Like I because we worked together for so long, and I think I became really good at, I knew him, I know what he's good at, I know how he communicates certain ways, so I knew how to feed into him and to set him up in such a way. And I thought I did pretty good at that with Ellis as well. And I think my biggest strength has been being able to identify talent in people and knowing that they would do well. And I've always been really good at building really great teams. And I think even the team of people I have the privilege and honor of working with today, I think, Rob is just, like, the moment I knew I had the opportunity to work with Rob, I wanted to work with Rob, because I know this dude is a rare blend of a lot of knowledge and good communication skills.
Wait, where's my wallet? How much are you?
Cheers for totally the wrong football team. But besides that, when I met with, like, I got resumes from like 700 people for Ashley's position. Interviewed well over 20 of them in person, but I knew Ashley was the person we needed. I knew Ashley was good. Ray, fact checker Jonathan, and I think that's gone back over my career. Again, the things I do badly far outnumber the things I do well. But I think those are a couple of things that I've done well, and I've always been really, really lucky to find these people, identify these people, and then put them in positions that I believe gives them an opportunity to succeed. So, yeah, I do a lot terribly, but that's one of the things I think I've done pretty well.
As John Schnepp would say.
Yeah, and what a find! I mean, really, what a find Schnepp was. I mean, I met Schnepp through a mutual friend, and I remember we did our first video together talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, and I identified right away, this guy's got a lot of skill. I think he will play well off me. I think I will play well off him. Blah blah. And through that, not only was there Schnepp, that's how I met you, Rob. Schnepp was our mutual friend, and that's how you and I came into communication with each other.
I have to say that I've been thinking a lot about John, because it will have been a year since I sat next to him and watched Infinity War, him and Amy Dallin and I just, it was such a great moment sitting next to him in that theater. And we both, like, when Red Skull shows up, we're like, what? We talk about getting sweaty. It was one of the sweatiest moments of my life, sitting next to Schnepp when Red Skull walked out in Infinity War.
Dude, I was sitting beside Anne, and it was the one time in Infinity War that literally my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
And I turned to Anne, that's Red Skull. She's like, shut up, I know. So, and it was like, but and I know we're getting off a bit of a sidetrack here, but I remember it came up on an open mic the other day. Something about Schnepp came up on open mic. Somebody saying, yeah, I wish Schnepp would have been here to see this. And I said, and I said with Rob, I said, this is especially, I think, going to be pretty emotional for Rob, because the last time Rob sat in a first screening of an Avengers movie, you were with Schnepp. Like, you and Schnepp went together to go see that. And
we, there's a video of us, and I think it's Markia, me, and Schnepp standing outside the theater, and we're just like, we were so giddy. Like, it was so exciting. I can't imagine. There was no one else in the world that I was so happy that that I wanted to see Infinity War with, and that was Schnepp. And we were like little 8-year-olds watching Star Wars for the first time. It was just unbelievable.
All right, let's move on here. A lot more questions we got to get to. Okay, I'm Upset writes, is the Vince McMahon biopic dead? I don't know. Look, especially with the recent John Oliver thing, they might want Vince to keep a little bit of a lower profile. So I don't think it's dead, but I don't know if it's exactly moving full steam ahead right now. Edgar Navarro writes, I'm officially a Patreon supporter. Thank you, Edgar. Thank you, John, for the hard work and the great content. Hey, Edgar, thank you so much for becoming a Patreon supporter. And I can't wait for you to join the community there and get to know the other Patreon supporters. It's a fabulous community. Thank you so much for being somebody who supports the content you enjoy. I appreciate that, Edgar. Edgar Magana writes, different Edgar, Bohemian Rhapsody has crossed 900 million worldwide. That's tremendous. I kind of thought it did that already a while ago, didn't it? Or was it just super close and it just inched over?
No, it was super close, and it just crossed 900 million, which is huge, especially on the spend. It wasn't a very expensive movie. So what a hugely profitable film. Wow.
Man, and I enjoy that film. So kudos to them for getting to that. Phoenix Arising writes, when I started phoenixarising.com as a hobby, I never thought anyone would really read it. Did you have the same thought? Oh, absolutely. When I started my first site, well, technically speaking, Rob, my first site was actually way, way back in the day. It was a little site called moviereviews.net. That was the name of it. And it was so early that domain name was available.
I was going to say, wow.
And I just did it for a little bit. Me and a couple friends worked on it. We didn't do it for long, and I kind of shuttered it. But then years later, I was doing some blogging, and I was living in Western Canada, and I was using blogging as a way to keep in touch with everybody back home. And I realized 70% of my blogging was about movies. So I decided to start a second blog, and I got the domain name, themovieblog.com. Back again early enough that domain name was still available, because a lot of people didn't even know what blogging was. And yes, I started that just hoping I would get like maybe 50 people a month. I would get like 50, maybe 100 readers a month reading my thoughts on movies. And sure enough, the first month I got about 40 or 50, and I'm sure 30 of those hits were from my mom. But then a couple of years later, I hit 100,000 a month, then I hit 250,000 a month, then I hit 500,000 a month. Then Time Magazine did the article on me, and then I got hired. IMC reached out to me and asked me to come and do the thing with it. It kind of went from there. But absolutely, and that's where I tell everybody, if you're going to start something, keep your expectations real. Do it understanding I'll have about 50 to 100 people reading and watching this. Because if you don't get joy out of doing it, knowing you're just going to have 50 to 100 people reading or watching it, then you shouldn't be doing it at all. And if you do it knowing I'm doing this, even knowing I'm just getting 50 to 100 people reading it, and that's where I get my joy, then you're in a good position. So that's my best advice there. Let's see. Slow D writes, do you think the leak will affect Endgame's box office? Do I think it will affect the box office? Yes. Will it affect it? Yes. Will it significantly affect it? No. Will there be maybe a couple of people around? In the grand scheme of things, there's like, well, I know what everything has happened. And maybe they only go see it once now instead of 2 or 3 times. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some people. But will it be noticeable? No. Will it be like any type of a noticeable effect? No, I don't think so. Rob, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's really going to be it's you know what, more than anything else, it's proved to me what websites and what people I want to have nothing to do with in our own community. I think we need to self-police, and until people take it upon themselves to not encourage this kind of thing, we have a lot of work to do as a community. That's what it's taught me. It's not going to affect the box office.
All right. Just a few more questions here, guys, and we're going to call it a day. The Darman writes, Endgame theory. The movie ends with an intercut between Steve and Peggy dancing in Valhalla. He's not Asgardian. And Pepper and Tony's first dance after the wedding. I do think, the Darman, that there is a chance that this movie ends with Tony and Pepper's wedding. I don't know that. No one's told me that. Pure total speculation. Could be a million miles from the truth. But that, I think, Peggy and Steve dancing in Valhalla, no, I don't think that's going to happen. But them dance, Tony and Pepper at their wedding at the end, as officiated by Stan Lee, I think it's a possibility, Rob.
I think that'd be the greatest ending ever, frankly. I would love to see that.
All right. Let's see here. Phoenix Arising writes, can we buy your movie, The Anniversary? No, I no longer have The Anniversary available for sale, but in the coming weeks, I am going to make, heaven help me, I'm going to make my little movie, The Anniversary, available to my Patreon supporters. So my movie, The Anniversary, will be available in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to make it available to my Patreon supporters so you guys can watch and laugh at me and see just how horrible of a filmmaker I am. But hey, it was my first film ever that I wrote, directed, produced, and paid for all myself. So, and I really just did it mostly to get a bigger appreciation for what it is filmmakers do. And it certainly did that. Does it suck? Yes. But am I proud of it? Hell yes. I'm proud of it. So anyway, there you go. It will be available to my Patreon supporters.
Hey man, you did it. You don't sell yourself short. You went and made a feature film.
Yeah. And I'm proud of it. I am. I'm totally proud of it. Does it belong on movie screens? No, but I'm proud of it nonetheless. I'm totally proud of it nonetheless. All right. Richard Stokes writes, how did Disney let 5 minutes of Avengers Endgame leak, and why did it take Disney so long to respond? It's a shame. What do you think will happen? Well, first of all, Richard, none of this is Disney's fault. It's just not Disney's fault. The fact of the matter is, a major motion picture, there's never been a film that more people wanted to try to leak stuff out if they could get their hands on it. When you're talking about a movie that has to now be entrusted to theater chains and business partners and whatever, you can only police it so much. And this was a matter, it looks like this was taken from, I think it's an Arabic source that kind of leaked this thing out. What is a very high probability that this is a matter of, copies of the film had to get distributed to theater chains. They have it, and some idiot that works at one of these theaters brought one of their idiot friends in. They go, oh, I'm going to bring my camera. And like when everybody else was off work and it's after hours, and probably did something like that. So you can only do so much. And Disney responded really fast. The problem is, once something gets online, it disseminates really, really quickly. Like faster than you can blink your eye. It's now suddenly copied 5,000 times in the span of about 3 seconds. It's very, very difficult, and kind of can't pin that on Disney. They did the best they could, and here we are. Let's see. Phoenix Arising asks, what if there was a movie of Felipe the Sentient Dancing Microphone? Someday I'm going to make that movie. Patrick
Dude,
Conway
that should be a
writes,
whole series.
Yeah, a new HBO series, Felipe the series to replace Game of Thrones. They're going to be looking for their next big hit. I got it for you, HBO. Felipe the Sentient Dancing Microphone. Let's see. Patrick Conway writes, advice about how to survive online in the next 10 days. Just be careful. I mean, there's honestly, look, I was talking to Rob. You and I were talking about this just before the show started. I don't know that there is any way to keep yourself from getting spoiled. If there are enough people out there that are hell-bent and intent on making sure they spoil it for you, to some degree, it's probably going to get spoiled for you. The only way to 100% guarantee you can avoid it is to call in sick to work for the next week, stay at home, turn off the lights, turn off your TV, turn off your phone, don't even order food. Run to the grocery store today, keep your ears plugged, order food, because, some pizza dude's going to show up. Here's your pizza. Hey, man, did you see what happens in Avengers? I mean, it's just going to happen. I don't know if there's any way to avoid it. Rob, what would be your best piece of advice?
Well, you don't have to read anything. I know it's hard, but yeah, I would stay off the places that you normally go to like CNN. Go to websites you don't normally go to. Don't read anything movie related. And by the way, if you feel that there's a site that you frequent that has betrayed your trust by posting content that you don't appreciate, be vocal about it. Be vocal about it everywhere. And certainly write to the webmasters of that website and tell them you don't appreciate what they've done and you expect more from them.
I agree. All right. Let's see. Take two more questions, and then we're going to wrap it up here today. The next one comes to us from Spark who writes, First Avengers, Thor flies in, take Loki, Cap, Stark, we need a plan of attack. Stark, I have a plan. Attack. Stark flies out of the Quinjet. Cap jumps out. Yeah, somebody wrote in about that. I have a plan. Attack. And I couldn't remember where that was from. That was from the first Avengers. And again, showing why Captain America is the much better strategist and much better leader than Iron Man is. I have a plan. Attack. And out the window we went. Adrian St. Fort writes, do you think Henry Cavill's Superman can defeat the MCU's Thor, Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Thanos one-on-one each? What about Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman? Again, these questions, Adrian, it always comes down to the same thing. It depends on who's writing it. If a DC writer is writing it, yes, he beats not only all of them one-on-one, he beats all of them at once. If a DC writer is writing it. If a Marvel writer is writing it, well, then Hulk maybe beats Superman. Thor maybe beats Superman. So that's the answer. It depends on who's writing it. At the end of the day, that's the answer. If I was writing it, Superman is the apex superhero. He is Superman. So Superman wins that every single time. But the reality is, it depends who's writing it. Rob, number one, who do you think wins in that theoretically? But then number two, if you were writing it, what happens?
Well, if he had to take on all of those people, Superman's had his ass handed to him a couple of times. It depends. Like, if you're away from the red sun of Earth and you're taking on, say, Thanos on his home planet of Titan, Superman, he's got to be around the red sun. I mean, he's got to be around the yellow sun of Earth. Pardon me. Did I say the red sun? You take him out of our solar system, his power is greatly diminished.
Yeah.
So it depends where you are and what's going to happen. But I agree with you. It depends how you write it. I mean, those are formidable. I don't know if Superman even has powers on Asgard. Does he?
Unless Asgard is circling a yellow sun. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't.
It's a good question.
Depends how you write it.
All right, listen, guys, from everybody, there's still a bunch of questions left there from Marie, Spencer, Troy, David, all the way down. Don't worry, guys. Your questions that got sent in will get answered in a video today. A little bit later today, I'll be doing a companion video where all of the questions that all of you guys sent in will be answered in a video today. Keep your eyes open for that. We just run out of time here for today.
A companion video for you today as well.
Oh, that's right. For those of you guys, remember we did a Star Wars trailer release chat. There's still a bunch to be done. Rob, because I know a lot of you guys wanted to hear what Rob had to say about it, so Rob is doing that. Yeah, he was in Seattle, influencing the negotiations between Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks, apparently. You said it was for your mom's birthday. You said that, but that was a cover. Oh, and a Bob Iger call, yes. So keep your eyes open for that Star Wars follow-up video from Rob that's going to come a little bit later today as well. All right, guys, that will do it for us. Rob, thanks so much for being here. Where can people find you online?
Well, that you can find me not watching Avengers Endgame spoilers, first of all. But you can also find me on Twitter at BurnettRM, find me on Instagram at RMBurnett, or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnettwork, and its website, theburnettwork.net.
And you guys, of course, can follow me on social media, just simply at John Campea. That will do it for us for now today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. My name's John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.